All right, let's get into this now. Here with me is roll call columnist Jon Allen, political reporter for Time Magazine Zeke Miller, and Democratic strategist Lis Smith. Welcome all. So, listen, President Obama takes to the stage tonight, Liz. Many are wondering what he might say about Republican nominee Donald Trump. He's made some controversial comments, Donald Trump has, about President Obama. In fact, let's listen to some of that.
I don't think he respects Clinton. I don't think Putin has any respect whatsoever for Clinton. I think he does respect me. And I hope I get along great with him. It's possible that we won't, Jeremy. I hope that we get along great with Putin, because it would be great to have Russia with a good relationship. Right now, we don't have a good relationship. Putin has said things over the last year that are really bad things, okay? He mentioned the N-word one time. I was shocked to hear him mention the N-word. You know what the N-word is, right? He mentioned it. I was shocked. He has a total lack of respect for President Obama. Number one, he doesn't like him. And number two, he doesn't respect him. I think he's going to respect your president if I'm elected. And I hope he likes me.
All right, I don't know. Asking a room full of reporters if they know what the N-word is also new to me. But so I'm going to ask first the reporters, Liz. Okay. Have you guys, in your reporting, ever come across Vladimir Putin using the N-word?
I have not.
Okay.
I did a little bit of research on my phone on the way over here. Does not seem to be the most credible of sources there, but that doesn't necessarily surprise me coming from Donald Trump sometimes.
Okay, John?
I'm not saying he's never used it. Certainly,
right.
I'm unaware of it if he has. But I'm pleased with Donald Trump's restraint to not actually use the word.
Liz, what do you make of his comments?
Okay, but even if Vladimir Putin had used it, why is Donald Trump saying that?
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
And there's so many disturbing things in that clip you just showed. You know, it shows Donald Trump has an absolutely casual relationship with reality. And it's so disturbing how he fetishizes Vladimir Putin. This is a guy who poisons his enemies. This is a guy who engages in regional aggression. This is not someone you celebrate. This is not someone you want to respect you. And praising his leadership qualities, to me, is just baffling. And then calling on him, and that wasn't in this clip, but calling on him to launch a cyber attack against his opponent, I mean, it's just unheard of. I really have never seen anything like that
Zeke,
before.
a lot of, with regards to that, Mr. Trump saying that he hopes the Russians do hack, or they do, or have read Hillary Clinton's emails. And I've been asking this question, is that more of an off-the-cuff remark by Trump, or is it really something that he's throwing out there in the hopes that the Russians, if they have hacked her server, somehow release these emails or somehow release this information?
You know, that's a really good question, because Donald Trump, does often think these things through. He comes up with his bullet points of what he wants to get across before one of these press conferences. He knows what it will take to get a headline. He saw this headline coming just minutes after he got off the stage. He then tweeted again, "Hey, if somebody has these, maybe Russia or some other country has these emails, please turn them over to the FBI." Certainly Trump is hoping they get them, but I mean, from a factual basis, these were two different leaks. One of them came from the Democratic National Committee.
Right.
One of them, it may have, if it had been breached, was Hillary Clinton's private email server. And the FBI has been able to reconstruct most of those emails, at least a decent bit of those, according to FBI Director James Comey. So it's not really clear what Trump is really getting at there other than going for the headline.
Right. James Comey, John, has said that there's perhaps a possibility that somebody may have, some foreign assets may have hacked the server, but they hadn't found any. They just said it was a possibility. And that is a distinction that Zeke is pointing out there, that Trump is talking about two different things, the DNC hack and Hillary Clinton and her private email server.
But they also didn't find that it was so grievous that they were going to prosecute her. So you sort of wonder, what is it that the Russians would have found had they hacked her personal server? Maybe it'll turn out that it is horrible secrets that the United States needed to protect itself, but maybe it's really along the lines of what the FBI found, which again, I don't think Jim Comey ever said that nobody broke the law, but he certainly said that this isn't a case where they would prosecute.
Liz, the first presidential debate is in 2 months. It's going to be on September 26th. Based on these comments by Donald Trump and all of the campaign rhetoric, how do you think Hillary Clinton will manage in a debate against Donald Trump? And I know that there are some Democrats like yourself who might say, oh, it's going to be, she's so good on the debate stage. But Trump has proven he vanquished 16 other highly capable Republican challengers. No one would ever say that Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, well, Chris Christie went after Rubio and some of the, but up until those moments, you would not have said that they were weak debaters. How do you expect it to play out?
Well, okay, you know, a 16-person debate is very different from a 2-person debate. And, you know, your calculus in a 16-person debate is very different because, you know, and you saw that with Christie and Rubio, kind of the murder-suicide there. But with a one-on-one, you know, you're disengaging each other, obviously. And I think what her strategy is going to be is to be the bigger person, to be the serious person. And, you know, when you see Trump out there saying stuff like this, you know, pumping up people like Vladimir Putin, you know, I can see a very clear path for Hillary Clinton here. And let me say one thing about this, is you can say Donald Trump was a great debater. You know, the field, again, the dynamics were very weird there, but I worked for Martin O'Malley in the Democratic primary, and Hillary Clinton is a very good debater. And she very rarely went off message, and I think that she'll do quite well in the debates in the fall.
Liz, you also worked for Barack Obama, who bombed the first debate in 2012.
That was a terrible performance.
Terrible performance, but this is sort of where you get it for Donald Trump. I mean, there's, you know, to borrow the old George W. Bush saw, I mean, sort of the soft bigotry of low expectations for Donald Trump. If it is, you know, Hillary Clinton is a great seasoned politician, it's certainly what we'll see Donald Trump do the same way he did before he started any of those Republican primary debates last year. He's going to talk himself down, talk her up, play the expectations game, and probably knowing him, be able to do that a bit more effectively than the Clinton campaign, which struggles when it comes to managing the media.
The key here is that Hillary Clinton's greatest strength and weakness as a debater are the same thing, which is what Liz was getting at, which is she's on script, she's on message, she goes in with a game plan, she anticipates what the other people are going to say. If there's one person, she anticipates that person. If there's three, she anticipates those people, and is ready to hit with the things she wants to hit with. The bad part of all of that is she's not necessarily nimble on her feet. There are some people who are just so quick that they can react to situations, and that's not her. So it is possible, I think, to be dexterous on the debate stage and get the advantage on her.
Yeah, and this is the problem. You know, I've done debate prep with a lot of candidates, and as John was saying, you know, one of the things you do is you anticipate attacks and you prepare responses. You have no idea what is going to come out of Donald Trump's mouth on the debate stage. And that's a little bit terrifying if you're in Hillary Clinton's camp, because how do you respond to someone who says such disturbing things, such things that you just have never even heard? So,
and it's also his ability to passive-aggressively say things, throw things out there, lob a sort of, you know, a verbal grenade into the room, and then just let it back, just sit back and let it explode.
And you also know he will take the low road when it comes to, you know, personal issues and things like that. And those are pretty tough to navigate in a debate as well. So it's tricky.
Although we'll expect, and I think that some people are going to expect that whoever is moderating these debates does not let that happen. In other words, if you want to say something about Cory Booker, for example, as Mr. Trump did on Twitter, making some weird comment on Twitter and just leave it out there for people to decipher what it means, it's not going to be that easy to do that on a debate stage, because if you say something like that, you know, if you say, look, Hillary, I know, you know, what I know, just to, you know, make something up, somebody's going to have to say, well, what are you talking about?
There's so much of that from Donald Trump, though, it becomes, you know, you can sort of get bogged down trying to litigate that. I mean, that happens even talking to him on the phone sometimes.
Right.
You know, you can litigate every factual point, ask for all the backup, and then, you know, you get through only one.
Excuse me.
You're through precisely one question. But getting at the broader issue, I mean, to Liz's point earlier about sort of the Clinton campaign trying to take the high road, it seems we've seen a little bit of that here this week. Not really. We haven't seen that sort of aggressive attack on Donald Trump, but it seems to get at where the Clinton campaign has struggled over the past couple of months is how do you approach somebody like him? Is he the con man? Is he somebody who's unqualified for the job? How should they position themselves vis-a-vis that? Should they ridicule him? Should they just, point? Should they fearmonger around him? They haven't quite calibrated that. And certainly when you get to the debates, and those are a different animal, Hillary Clinton can get up there and sort of eviscerate him on stage, and that can either work or it won't work. But, there's only one way of knowing. Or she can kind of play the safer route, which would be trying to play the high road.
How important will these debates be in this election? And I mean to say that they always do factor in. But now that we've gotten through this primary season, it's been a brutal battle for both of these candidates. How are people going to be viewing these debates, especially if you are on the fence about what to do? John?
I think they'll matter a lot, and I think they're hard to anticipate for some of the reasons that Zeke and Liz were talking about. There's no way to know what Donald Trump's going to say or how to react to it. From the Clinton standpoint, I think what she'll try to do is point out where he has said something that is totally ridiculous. The problem for her is that the viewers might not necessarily know that. Right. And I think the ability to appear credible is more important than the ability to be credible in these debates.
But the debates, it's really the opportunity for the American people to see these two people on stage. Although, it could be three with Gary Johnson, and that would really mix it up. But it's an opportunity for the American people to see these two individuals on stage and make a decision. Which one of these people do I want to be our commander-in-chief? Which one of these people do I trust to lead our country? And if you see rhetoric like you saw coming out of Donald Trump's press conference today, I think it's very hard for him to win that argument.
Zeke, what is the White House saying about what we can expect from President Obama today? Or John, if you've heard anything, what are we expecting to hear?
We haven't gotten a good bit of a readout from them just yet, and certainly they're going to come after President Trump, going after Donald Trump. The president has been kind of primed for this. Every time he's been asked a question at every forum, usually overseas in the last few months, he's gotten the Donald Trump question, gotten sort of, is he qualified? Does he scare you? What are the foreign leaders telling you? And it seems he's going to make at least some of that case. Obviously, also, you just played the 2004 convention video. There will be an element also of legacy building here. But for President Obama, so much of his legacy does ride on what comes next, because if it's Donald Trump, he's going to bear some of that blame, and if it's Hillary Clinton, a lot of the things that he's fought for will be secure.
I think I spoke to a Clinton campaign official earlier today who said that essentially what we're going to be hearing tonight is this national security argument. Who can sit in the Situation Room and make these decisions? She's done it before. What's interesting is Obama can tell the story of how they agreed and how she gave him good advice. And Vice President Biden, if he chooses, can talk about how they disagreed.
Right.
And yet still had, on the bin Laden raid, on Libya, on the Afghanistan troop surge, and tell the story.
Not on Libya.
No, they disagreed on Libya.
But that might not be a great place.
He may not bring that up.
Right.
But the point is, he has the ability to talk to if he wants to, and I think it's one of those things that might humanize her a little bit, is talk about how they disagreed and how he likes the way she thinks.
Right.
We'll see if he does that or not. But President Obama, I think, will make the she's presidential, she can do the job that I've done argument.
And that's, in fact, what a lot of people are hoping to see, because there hasn't been a whole lot of discussion about national security and the threats that are facing our country from abroad. Zeke Miller, thank you very much. Lis Smith, as always, thank you very much. And our old buddy Jon Allen, we appreciate you coming by. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks.